Hey everybody, welcome back!
5 days before the birth of my third child, my parents refused to be there for me. And don't ask me to babysit your children for free, my mother said. I cried quietly and said nothing. 2 weeks later, my phone exploded with text messages from my mother. Help pay the mortgage, urgently. My husband got angry and then my water broke at 2 a.m. on a Tuesday 5 days before my due date with my third child. I stood there in the bathroom gripping the sink trying to steady my breathing while my 2 toddlers slept in the next room. My husband Marcus was deployed overseas with the army. He wouldn't be back for another 3 weeks. I was completely alone. Well, not completely. I had my parents, or so I thought. I called my mother first. The phone rang 4 times before she picked up, her voice groggy and annoyed. Natalie? Do you know what time it is? Mom, my water just broke. I need to get to the hospital. Can you come watch Lily and Connor? There was a long pause. Too long. Your father and I have plans tomorrow morning, she finally said. We're driving to Atlantic City for the weekend. We've had this trip booked for months. I felt my throat tighten. Mom, I'm having a baby. Your grandchild. Well, that's wonderful, dear, but surely you can figure something out. What about Marcus's mother? She's in Oregon, Mom. She can't just. Then call a babysitter. Or that neighbor of yours, what's her name? Carol. I'm sure she'd be happy to help. My hands started shaking. Are you seriously telling me you won't help me right now? Don't be dramatic, Natalie. Her voice turned sharp the way it always did when I disappointed her. We raised you. We changed your diapers and sacrificed everything for you and your sister. And frankly, I'm tired of you always expecting us to drop everything whenever you need something. You chose to have 3 children while your husband is constantly deployed. That's your responsibility, not ours. I couldn't breathe. Another contraction hit and I had to brace myself against the wall. Mom, please. And while we're on the subject, she continued, her tone ice cold now, don't ask me to babysit your children for free anymore. If you need childcare, you can pay for it like everyone else. Your father and I are retired. We've earned our rest. I stood there, tears streaming down my face, unable to speak. We'll visit when the baby arrives, she said dismissively. Sometime next month, perhaps. Good luck, dear. She hung up. I slid down the bathroom wall and cried quietly, trying not to wake Lily and Connor. Do you think a mother should say that to her daughter when she's about to give birth? I honestly couldn't believe what had just happened. 20 minutes later, I called my sister Jessica. Maybe she would understand. Maybe she would care. Jess, I know it's late, but I really need your help. Mom already texted me, she interrupted. Look, Nat, I have my own life. I can't just drop everything because you decided to pop out another kid. I'm not asking you to drop everything. I'm asking you to help me for one day. One day always turns into a week with you. You're exhausting, you know that? Always needing something, always playing the victim. Maybe if you'd thought things through before having a third baby while Marcus is deployed, you wouldn't be in this mess. He hung up too. I sat there on the cold bathroom floor, completely numb. My own family had abandoned me in my moment of greatest need. What was I supposed to do? Eventually, I pulled myself together and called Carol, my neighbor from 2 doors down. She was a widow in her 60s, kind and warm in a way my own mother had never been. She answered on the second ring, and when I explained the situation, she didn't hesitate. Oh honey, I'll be right there. Don't you worry about a thing. Carol stayed with Lily and Connor for 3 days while I was in the hospital. She brought them to visit me and the baby, a beautiful little girl I named Sophie. She cooked meals, did laundry, and treated my children like her own grandchildren. The grandchildren my actual parents didn't seem to care about. When I came home from the hospital, exhausted and overwhelmed, Carol helped me settle in. She didn't ask for anything in return. She just helped because that's what good people do. My parents didn't call. Not once during those 3 days. Not to check on me, not to see if the baby had arrived safely, not even a text message. But 2 weeks later, exactly 2 weeks after Sophie was born, my phone started buzzing at 6 a.m. text after text after text from my mother. Natalie, call me immediately. This is urgent. We need to talk about the mortgage. Your father and I are in serious financial trouble. You need to help us. We're family. I stared at those messages, feeling something dark and cold settle in my chest. Imagine what I felt reading those words. The same woman who told me not to expect free babysitting, who chose a casino trip over her daughter's childbirth, now wanted money. Urgently. I didn't respond. Not yet. I was too angry, too hurt. Marcus called later that evening, his first chance to contact me since Sophie's birth. He'd managed to get emergency leave approved and would be home in 48 hours, finally being discharged after his last deployment. When I told him everything, about my mother's refusal to help, about Jessica's cruelty, about the texts demanding money, His voice went deadly quiet. They said what to you? When you were about to give birth to our daughter? Yeah, I whispered, tears falling again. And now Mom wants us to help pay their mortgage. She's been texting non-stop. The silence on the other end stretched so long I thought the connection had dropped. Marcus. I'm here, he said, his voice tight with controlled fury. Don't respond to her yet. Wait until I get home. We're going to handle this together. What do you mean? Your parents have been taking advantage of you for years, Natalie. All those loans we've given them that were never paid back. All the times we've helped with their bills while they went on vacation. The car we bought for your dad. The new furnace we paid for. Do you have any idea how much money we've given them? I did know. Roughly $70,000 over the past 6 years. And that wasn't counting all the free labor Marcus had done on their house, or the groceries I regularly bought for them, or the countless other ways we'd supported them financially. They're about to learn something very important, Marcus continued, his voice hard as steel. Actions have consequences. What do you think he was planning to do? Because I had no idea what was coming, but I knew my husband well enough to know that when Marcus got that tone in his voice, he meant business. And honestly, after everything my parents had put me through, after the way they'd abandoned me when I needed them most, I was ready to watch them face those consequences. Marcus came home 48 hours later. I'll never forget the way he walked through that door, exhausted from travel, still in his uniform, but his eyes went straight to me and baby Sophie. He held us both for a long time, not saying anything. Then he kissed Lily and Connor, who'd been climbing all over him. After the kids were in bed, we sat at the kitchen table. My phone was still buzzing with messages from my mother. She'd sent 17 texts in 2 days. Please, Natalie, we're desperate. The bank is threatening foreclosure. We need $8,000 by the end of the month. After everything we've done for you. Marcus read through them all, his jaw clenching tighter with each one. Then he pulled out a folder from his bag. Thick, organized with tabs. What's that? I asked. Records. Every dollar we've given your parents since we got married. Every loan that was never repaid. Every bill we've paid for them. He spread the papers across our kitchen table. Bank statements. Canceled checks. Screenshots of my mother promising to pay us back next month. Do you think I knew it was this much? Seeing it all laid out like that, my hands started shaking. $73,412, Marcus said flatly. That's what they've taken from us over 6 years. Not borrowed, Natalie. Taken. I felt sick. That's almost enough for a down payment on a bigger house. Or Sophie's college fund. Or our retirement. He looked at me, eyes gentle despite his anger. You know what they spent that $8,000 on last year? The money they desperately needed for property taxes. I shook my head. Atlantic City. I found the credit card statements your mom left here after Thanksgiving. They gambled it away. All of it. The room started spinning. All those times my mother made me feel guilty for having nice things. All those comments about us showing off when we bought a new car. And they'd been gambling away our money. What do? I whispered. Marcus's expression hardened. We do exactly what they taught you. We take care of ourselves first. The next morning, Marcus drafted a response. Hi Helen. This is Marcus. Natalie is recovering from childbirth and dealing with a newborn, so I'm handling family matters. Regarding your request for $8,000, we won't be able to help. In fact, we won't be providing any further financial assistance going forward. We have 3 children to support on one income. I'm sure you understand. My finger hovered over send. She's going to lose her mind. Let her, Marcus said calmly. What's she going to do? Refuse to babysit. The bitter irony made me actually laugh. I pressed send. The response came within 3 minutes. My phone started ringing immediately. My mother, then my father, then Jessica, then my mother again. Marcus gently took my phone and turned it off. You don't owe them an explanation. But here's the thing, I felt guilty. Isn't that crazy? They'd abandoned me during childbirth and I still felt guilty saying no. Years of conditioning don't just disappear. The calls continued for 3 days. Voicemails. My mother crying, then angry, then crying again. My father calling me selfish. Jessica calling me a heartless bitch. Carol, my neighbor, noticed I seemed stressed when she brought groceries. I broke down and told her everything. Oh honey, she said, hugging me. You're doing the right thing. Those people don't deserve a daughter like you. But they're my parents, I sobbed. Cruel is what they did to you. Setting boundaries isn't cruel, it's necessary. Her words helped, but the guilt still ate at me. Do you think I was wrong to cut them off? Then, about a week later, something unexpected happened. My Aunt Linda called. My mother's older sister, who I hadn't spoken to in almost 2 years. Natalie? It's Aunt Linda. Please don't hang up. I'm not going to hang up, I said carefully. Your mother called me about this mortgage situation. She's very upset and honestly, Natalie, I wanted to tell you, good for you. I almost dropped the phone. What? Good for you. I've watched your parents bleed you dry for years. Your mother calls me constantly bragging about how much you help them. It made me sick because I knew she was manipulating you. You knew. Linda took a deep breath. Natalie, I need to tell you something. Your parents aren't actually in danger of foreclosure. They paid off their mortgage 3 years ago. The world stopped. What? They own their house free and clear. Your grandmother left them almost $200,000 when she died. They paid off the mortgage and invested the rest. They're fine, Natalie. More than fine. I couldn't breathe. Marcus saw my face and rushed over. I put the phone on speaker. But Mom said the bank was threatening foreclosure, I managed to say. She lied. He wants money for their lifestyle. Gambling, trips, shopping. Your father is addicted to online poker. They've blown through most of Grandma's inheritance, and now they're trying to maintain the same lifestyle by taking from you. Imagine finding out everything you've stressed about was a complete lie. I wanted to scream. Why didn't you tell me before? I asked, voice shaking. Your mother and I weren't speaking for 2 years. We fought when I told her to stop using you as an ATM. She cut me out. But when she called yesterday crying about her ungrateful daughter, I realized I couldn't stay silent anymore. Marcus's hand found mine and squeezed. His face was absolutely murderous. There's one more thing, Linda said quietly. Your mother told everyone in the family that you refused to help because Marcus controls all the money and keeps you isolated. She's playing the victim, making you look like the bad guy. That's when something inside me finally snapped. All those years of guilt. All those times I'd gone without so they could have more. The delayed home renovations. The smaller Christmas presents for my kids because we'd helped with their emergency dental work. That was probably another gambling trip. And they'd lied about all of it. Aunt Linda, I said, my voice cold and clear. Thank you for telling me this. What are you going to do? Show them what real consequences look like. After we hung up, Marcus and I sat in silence. I'm done feeling guilty, I finally said. Good, Marcus said. Bez, I've been planning something. And with Linda's information we have everything we need. What do you think we did next? Because we didn't just cut them off financially. Oh no. My husband had been planning something much bigger, and honestly, I couldn't wait to see the looks on their faces. Marcus spent the next 2 days making phone calls and organizing documents. He was methodical about it, writing everything down, building what he called an airtight case. A case for what? I asked, watching him work while I fed Sophie. You'll see, he said with a small smile. Trust me. On Thursday he gathered me, Aunt Linda and Carol in our living room. Yes, Carol, she'd become like a real grandmother to my kids. Here's what we're going to do, Marcus said, opening his laptop. On the screen was a detailed spreadsheet. Every transaction to my parents with dates and amounts. I've also pulled their property records. Public information shows the mortgage was satisfied 3 years ago, just like Linda said. Aunt Linda nodded approvingly. Smart man. We're sending this to your parents with a simple message, Marcus continued, looking at me. They have 48 hours to publicly acknowledge they lied about their financial situation and apologize to you. Or we send this documentation to every family member who's been calling you selfish. My mouth fell open. You want to expose them? I want them to have a choice, Marcus corrected. They can come clean or the truth comes out anyway. But this manipulation stops now. Do you think that was too harsh? Part of me wanted them to hurt like they'd hurt me. But another part felt terrified. Carol squeezed my hand. Honey, sometimes people need consequences before they can change. That evening, Marcus sent the email. Mom and Dad, we know the truth about the paid-off mortgage and Grandma's inheritance. We have documentation of $73,412 you've taken from us over 6 years. You have 48 hours to send a message to the family group chat explaining you lied and apologizing to Natalie for abandoning her during Sophie's birth. If you don't, we send everything to the family ourselves. Marcus and Natalie. I watched him hit send, my heart pounding. 20 minutes later my father called. Marcus answered on speaker. How dare you threaten us, my father shouted. You can't blackmail your own family. We're not blackmailing anyone, Marcus said calmly. We're asking you to tell the truth. You made Natalie look like a terrible daughter. So now you can set the record straight or we will. You manipulative. 48 hours, Richard. Marcus hung up. The next day was hell. My mother called 17 times. Jessica sent texts calling me every name in the book. My father left a voicemail saying I was destroying the family. But Marcus stood firm. Every time I wavered, he reminded me of what they'd done. Carol came over that afternoon and found me crying at the kitchen table. "They're never going to apologize," I sobbed. "They're too proud." "None of this is your fault," Carol said firmly. "You didn't lie. You didn't manipulate. They did this, Natalie." That night, with 6 hours left on the deadline, Aunt Linda called. "Natalie, check the family group chat. Right now." My hands shook as I opened it. There was a message from my mother, posted 30 minutes ago. "I need to say something to everyone. Richard and I have not been honest. We are not facing foreclosure. We paid off our mortgage years ago with inheritance money. When we asked Natalie for $8,000, it wasn't for an emergency. We've been spending beyond our means. We also need to apologize to Natalie. We refused to help when she went into labor with Sophie and we said cruel things. We were wrong. We're deeply sorry." I stared at the screen, tears streaming down my face. They'd actually done it. Then I kept reading. Message after message from family members. "Helen, I'm shocked. You told me Natalie refused to help you when you were desperate." My cousin Amanda wrote. "Aunt Helen, you called me crying about how Natalie abandoned you. I can't believe you lied." Jessica was silent. Not a single message from her. Then my phone rang. My mother, and for the first time in my life she sounded small. "Natalie, can we talk?" I looked at Marcus. He nodded. "I'm listening," I said. "I'm sorry," she said, crying. "I'm so sorry for everything. For not being there when Sophie was born. For taking advantage of you. For all of it. I just felt tired." "Why did you lie about the foreclosure?" Long pause. "Because I was embarrassed. Your father and I made terrible financial decisions. The gambling. We've burned through almost everything Grandma left us. Instead of being honest, I kept taking from you. Because you always said yes." It was the most honest thing she'd ever said to me. "And the things you said when I was in labor?" "I have no excuse," she whispered. "I was selfish and cruel. You needed me and I chose a casino weekend. What kind of mother does that?" Imagine hearing your mother finally acknowledge what she'd done. "Mom," I said slowly, "I appreciate the apology. But things can't go back to how they were." "I know," she said quickly. "I understand. I mean, we need boundaries. No more asking for money. No more guilt trips. And you need to get help for the gambling. Both of you." "We will," she promised. "Your father already contacted Gamblers Anonymous. Our first meeting is tomorrow." I looked at Marcus. He nodded. "Your call. Hey, we can try. But Mom, if you ever treat me like that again." "I won't," she said. "I swear. I want to be the mother you deserved. And the grandmother Sophie, Lily, and Connor deserve." Over the next few months, my parents actually followed through. My father went to GA meetings 3 times a week. My mother started therapy. They sold their second car to rebuild savings. They babysat when we needed a date night and never asked for payment. My mother helped with laundry when I was overwhelmed. My father built a toy box for the kids. Were they perfect? No. My mother slipped a few times with passive-aggressive comments that Marcus quickly shut down. But they were trying. Jessica called 2 months later and apologized. Turns out my parents had been manipulating her too, telling her I was too good for family. Once the truth came out, she realized how much she'd been played. "I should have been there when Sophie was born," she said, crying. "I'm so sorry, Nat. We're rebuilding that relationship too." The biggest surprise came 6 months later. My parents showed up with an envelope. Inside was a check for $25,000. "We sold some of Grandma's jewelry," my mother explained. "It's not everything we owe you, but it's a start. We're going to pay you back, Natalie. All of it." I started crying and Marcus wrapped his arm around me. Do you know what the strangest part was? I got my parents back. Not the manipulative versions I'd known, but real, honest, trying to be better versions. And my kids got grandparents who actually showed up. Carol still comes over twice a week and she'll always be special to us. Marcus showed me that love means protecting each other and setting boundaries. And baby Sophie is 2 now, surrounded by people who love her, including grandparents who learned that family means showing up when it's hard. So that's my story. Sometimes people need to hit rock bottom before they can change. Sometimes consequences are the only thing that creates real change. Thank you for listening. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you think we did the right thing? Have you ever had to set boundaries with family? Please share in the comments. And if this story resonated with you, I'd really appreciate a like. If there's something you think I should have done differently, I'm open to that too. Thank you for being here and letting me share my story. It means more than you know.
He was laughing and joking about how he was only marrying me because it was the right thing to do, and he wasn't sure if he truly loved me. I mean, to be fair, you're not sure if you truly love him either. But the fact that he's like kikiing about this on your wedding day, could we not have figured this out beforehand? Like, everybody's kind of here. We kind of got the dresses and the cakes and the flowers and everything. The flowers just themselves are like $20,000 apparently. Oh God, Lord have mercy. I'm not even you. Like, this is how much flowers cost at a wedding in Ontario unless you do something else. He mentioned that he felt trapped by our family's expectations and didn't want to disappoint them. Ugh. It's not worth it, bestie. It's not. Man, life's too short to be with someone for the rest of your life and not be sure about them. My heart sank. Here I was, thinking we were starting a new chapter of our lives based on love and commitment. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. It felt like a punch to the gut. I stood there frozen as they continued talking. Okay, so you had moments of doubt too, right? Was that because of how he was treating you or because you just weren't sure about him? I stood there frozen as they continued talking. My husband said he hoped he could grow to love me and that maybe marriage would fix things. Marriage is not a band-aid. A ring is not a shut up. Fix things before you get engaged, not after. The best man didn't seem shocked or surprised, which made me think they'd had this conversation before. Oh, wow. Okay, so everybody knew except you. God. Great, got it. Devastated, I decided to take a moment to myself and process what I'd just heard. I went back to the bridal suite, tears streaming down my face. That's when I saw his phone on the dresser, buzzing with notifications. Oh, he cheating. Oh, he cheating for sure. I know it was wrong, but in my state of shock, I picked it up and unlocked it. What I found next was a complete shock. There were texts from another woman, someone I didn't recognize. Do you guys find it annoying when I try to guess the end of the story? It's so annoying. I'm sorry. I know. But I like to imagine that I'm psychic. I'm not psychic. People are just predictable. I've heard this story before. She was congratulating him on the wedding, but also expressing her frustration that he was going through with it. There were photos, intimate messages, and even plans